I do know this much. People really need to just start minding their own business and stop hating on people that have more than you do. I mean, what does that have to do with you?
This picture of hate and everything that is wrong with the internet, we're talking about PewDiePie. This post from Dexter
Mm.
went viral over the weekend. It says PewDiePie is truly on his loving husband and father era. This has 31 million views over on X. And it's like, why? Why does this have 31 million views? Well, let's
Yeah.
watch the video and see why people would be so upset about this. I'm going to bring this down so we don't have to use YouTube's new AI tool. But the long and short of it is, it just shows PewDiePie with his family making their way around, living with his kid, being in fields out in the middle of Sweden, I guess, right? And
Yeah.
that video, this picture in particular, has people really upset. Really upset. Lorena, does that upset you at all?
No, I don't get the upset. It's a nice, pastoral looking video. You've got the family there. They're out touching grass, hanging out in nature. So what's the problem?
Well,
Really?
here's the
Why are
problem,
people hating on it?
Lorena, because apparently it reeks of Nazism. This is a take, by the way, with 1,000 likes over on X. But we're not done there, because more people are upset here. As this person here, I like to point out, says, living proof that you can just be racist to 20% of the world and people still see you as wholesome. And this
Wholesome
has
chungus. You gotta,
yes. This has 175,000 likes. This has almost 30 million views, just as many as the original tweet here, as PewDiePie and his just being a dad now with a wife and hanging out with his family is being seen as apparently the same thing that happened in World War II with ending the life of 6 million people, apparently. So congratulations, PewDiePie. That is you've crossed something that you just can't come back from. Lorena,
Make this make sense. How did we get from this family, this nice looking video with PewDiePie and everything, to German socialists? How do you make that crazy leap of logic, folks? And help me out with this, because I don't see it.
Johnny,
it looks to me like a white family straight out of the J. Crew catalog when I look at that. Okay,
John.
I think a lot of people have been politically brainwashed with ideas of white supremacy, and to the point where they see a family of white people and it's being successful, and they just immediately react with disgust like that's something that shouldn't be happening. I think that's one element. And then I think you have, more broadly, you have a lot of deeply unhappy, bitter, resentful people who see somebody else succeeding and thriving, and they react to that with hostility because they don't have it in their own lives.
It's pointed out
empty
by
people.
Peter says the only people angry at PewDiePie are people who are envious of what he has. Thank you, Peter, for your support. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that at all. Now, obviously PewDiePie has had some controversies over the years, and I do think it's important that we talk about this, which is why I think some people are upset about this. Now, going back to his gameplay days, there was it's called the Bridge incident, and I did not recall this, but says the vast majority of PewDiePie scandals have been caused by one thing: PewDiePie getting carried away with his outgoing online persona. It's almost like exactly what we just saw with iShowSpeed and Kai Cenat being, taking their personalities, their online personas to the next level. It says often taking an offensive joke too far. While playing a video game in a live stream, PewDiePie was caught using the N-word when shooting an opponent who was crossing a bridge. So there we go. There's that. Then there was the T-Series diss track. And I think this is where the 20% of the world comment comes in right here, as there was this there was a time where PewDiePie was going against this Indian channel called T-Series for the most popular YouTube channels in history. I don't know if you guys recall that, kind of going back and forth several years ago. And he says, you may remember the diss tracks that were having a moment on YouTube in 2018. At the time, PewDiePie was locked in a fierce competition with T-Series, an Indian music label, battling to retain its rank as the most popular YouTube channel. As part of his Subscribe to PewDiePie campaign, PewDiePie posted a video titled Bitch Lasagna, in which he laid into T-Series, accusing the business of using bots and fake subscriptions, which is probably pretty accurate. Why was he criticized? While the diss track was meant to be funny and lean into meme culture, many found it to be racist, as the lyrics included anti-Indian slurs and referenced Indian stereotypes. Okay, there we go. And then he also made fun of addiction in 2018 after poking fun at Demi Lovato, who was hospitalized due to overdose. So there we go. That's why people are upset at PewDiePie and the success. Real quick, Blabs, would you you had Googled his net worth prior to the show.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that at?
It was 45 million.
Okay. So PewDiePie is 45 million bucks net worth. And I think this goes back, I mean, just my personal thoughts is that I think it goes back to what Peter said in his super chat, and John, to echo what you said, there's a lot of people who are very unhappy. And when they see this, they turn around and they say, I want that, but I can't have it because I'm a jerk, right? And they're extremely envious of everything that he has, including the $45 million. But I'm going to be very honest. I think PewDiePie is, he played his role on YouTube. He made his money. And now he's doing exactly what he should probably be doing with his money, which is nothing, living a great life, having awesome time with his wife, his family, and he's just gonna sail into the sunset. Whether he's retired or not, he has generational wealth based off of striking while the iron was hot. And whether he stops making videos tomorrow or in 50 years from now, the point is that he's done it. He's won. Like, he's conquered life. he's done everything. And no matter how successful you're going to be, no matter whether you're small or you're big, there will always be people who are envious of what you have because they don't have it. And as you continue to grow, they will always have more and more haters who become that way. And it's amazing to see people who are upset at just having a family, having a loving wife, having a loving kid, and being in a loving situation. And I really think that says a lot about society as a whole at this point right now. Lorena, you got anything on that?
I'm not too familiar with the whole PewDiePie thing, but and what he's done in the past. But I do know this much: people really need to just start minding their own business and stop hating on people that have more than you do. I mean, what does that have to do with you? And I think too many people are just envious and just want to hate rather than just say, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I wish I had that, and go back, to my life. But again, because you have social media out here and people who have access to it, and the barrier to entry is very, very low, they do pot shots like this. And it really is, it's sad, and it's pretty pathetic, actually, if you ask me.
Right.
I think it actually has to do a lot with social media and how fake it is, right? Because people always see what you want them to see and not the whole picture and everything. And so it's always like a glimpse into it. And people think, oh, you live such a perfect life. Why don't I have that? Then they start to get angry and jealous. They hate themselves. So again, I think it's just really social media that they're just living on it, and they think, oh my God, I need to have this kind of life. And then they can't have it because expectations are way too high. And then it just turns to shit. And here we are.
Right. And this is a response to that post about, the whole, 20% post down below it. And I think this guy nails it right here. Twitter moralists tend to criticize something they dislike because of their edgy behavior on the internet 6 years ago, even though that person has grown and now lives happily with their family. Right. Like, you put this whole thing in perspective, right? Where you say, well, how old is PewDiePie? PewDiePie is old enough to have made plenty of mistakes, right? He's 34 years old. 6 years ago, he's 28, and you're still figuring yourself out. I still think that, you know, it takes till you're in your 30s to kind of figure things out a little bit, and you become old enough to where you realize that you really don't know anything. You know, there's something that I learned is that as I've gotten older, I go, I truly don't know jack anything about anything, and there's a realization to that. But he's 34 years old, has 45 million bucks, has generational wealth, not just for him, but for his, you know, his kid and their kids, and that wealth will continue to grow because I'm sure he's smart enough to invest it properly in whatever way, shape, and form. But to see the outlash or the outcry of hate because of a silly 20-second video of him living his best life is just fascinating to see.